this chart other than to tell you the delight I feel when I realize that the winners, the new people coming into the legislature, include more women, more Latinos, more LGBT community representatives than we've ever had in Virginia. You're going to see a House of Delegates this session that is more reflective of the population of Virginia. And as advocates now, we need to be aware of that and to build on it going forward. A wonderful change of how it is that we're going to have a more representative body because people got out and voted. So what are we going to have to deal with? So we created a history here of how Virginia got to be Virginia and how we got such deep racial divisions within our state. And we created a division of where we can see that there's a lot of economic and social differences across the regions of the state. So how, when we get together as 140 members of the General Assembly, do you get anything done? And the answer is sometimes you don't get much done. And sometimes we don't deal with issues we ought to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, one time I'm gonna pick out a really big one. Public education. Well, certainly we've been doing okay on that, you'd think, right? Well, here's what the numbers show. State direct aid per student has fallen for public schools in Virginia after adjusting for inflation. In other words, in 2009, the state provided about $5,900 for public education. In 2017, 2018, that $5,900, almost $6,000 number, has dropped to $5,300. What? We're getting more kids in school. You know that around here. There are more kids in school. And we're putting in fewer dollars. Well, actually, if you talk to somebody who's not a big public school advocate, they'll say, well, you know we do put in more dollars. Yeah, but when you divide it by the number of students, it comes out to be fewer dollars per student. We do at the total a little bit each time. We put in a few more dollars, but it doesn't keep pace with the growth in schools. It doesn't keep pace with the special needs in schools. So that what happens is you end up with schools having actually fewer dollars to spend. Here you can look at, you can see if we had kept pace, if we had kept pace with our school funding at the level it was in 2009, we would today be spending $7.2 billion in schools. Instead, we're spending $6.2 billion. Sure, we had a recession. Recession cut us back. So, but when we got around to setting priorities again, we seem to have slipped with the idea that we can get by with less on school. How do we get less? How do we get by with less? Well, living in Fairfax, you want to know the answer to that. Fairfax is not going to stand for its schools deteriorating. So as a consequence, you put in more money. Every year you have this fight with the Board of Supervisors. We got to have money for the schools. Somehow the state gets overlooked in that. And where does the money come from? Well, the only place it could come from in Fairfax, your property tax. So then we argue about the property tax. When in fact we don't have people honestly standing up and saying the state's not doing its share in public education. So we have a system of adjusting the funding for schools based on the wealth of a community. And it's an adjustment related to the wealth of a particular local community as to how much state money they get. The poorer you are, the more state money you get. Wealthier you are, the fewer state dollars you get. And I believe in that system, and the courts have said you got to do that. You got to give every kid an equal opportunity for an education. But that number at best should be 50-50. 50 parts of locality, 50 for state, on the average across the state. In 2008 and 9, the local share was 48.6%, and now the local share is 51.8%. We're still running our schools, but we're running them on the back of people who own property in the locality. See that shift? The state share went from almost 45% to just about 41%. Now, Another favorite topic for you as well as for me relates to Medicaid expansion. This is what the governor said in his year-end report to the General Assembly Money Committees in August of this year. I have called for Virginia to expand Medicaid for 3.5 years now. In that time, we have forever forfeited a whopping $10.4 billion of our federal tax dollars. $10.4 billion we've foregone? Explain to me, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, about Virginia being a fiscally conservative state. A fiscally conservative state that leaves that kind of money on the table? Shame on us. When we have people who have unmet needs, people without insurance, people for whom this program has been set up. We have missed an opportunity to cover 400,000 low-income citizens. 31 states from across the political spectrum have expanded Medicaid. This isn't a political issue. These are people's lives. I believe the governor said in the radical notion that health care shouldn't be a privilege for the rich. And in the wealthiest nation in the world, one medical event shouldn't send a family into financial ruin. I believe when you go to Richmond this year, you're going to find a more sympathetic ear. Because the left exit polling will show that one of the reasons some people switched is because of the unwillingness of the legislature to deal with this issue. And I think you're going to find a more sympathetic ear to be able to working on a plan that will get health care for Virginians. Localities across Virginia stand to benefit. And the crazy irony in this is, you'll notice the irony of this is that the areas that vote red stand to benefit the most. It's crazy. I don't know how to tell people you're voting against your own self-interest. But it's a self-interest of a limited electorate. People hadn't been taking part in the election. Virginia's Medicaid program is stacked up against the nation, the 48th stingiest in the nation. And that's an honor to work for it.
Photo of that.
It's harder to get on Medicaid in Virginia and all but maybe 2 other states. Virginia's number 38 in mental health American rankings. When I said we were a wealthy state, we're what? 8th wealthiest? 12th largest? How in the world is it that you end up being 38th in mental health provisions? Because you get by without taking up the responsibility. How high are your sales tax? You can see now that the lighter the color, the lower the sales tax. The lighter the green, the lower the sales tax. The darker the color, the higher the sales tax. Our own Joint Legislative Audit Review Commission found since 2004, Virginia has ranked in the lowest 5 states in state and local revenue as a percentage of personal income. In state and local revenue as a percentage of gross state product, Virginia ranks 49th. And we just had a statewide race where there was a promise of cutting taxes $1 billion. Thank heavens we didn't buy into that. We could go on and talk about what the other needs are. The school to prison pipeline is a reality in Virginia. Virginia has an abysmal record of having children go from public school difficulties to the judicial system for dealing with. That's a bad system. Likewise, the challenges that are brought on by our new Americans in Virginia. So, ladies and gentlemen, the point of all this is to say to you that we have a crack open in the door. We have an outcome of an election that's been very satisfactory to our cause. But make no mistake about it, the work of advocacy goes on. And I want to deliver to you today, I hope you can understand through my rough voice what I want to say, and that is, you're more important than ever. You are important because we have an opportunity with a number of new legislators and a number of old legislators who are rethinking where they've been, that maybe they're out of touch. And so when we carry those the sacred gospel forward, when we let people know the stories of what the needs are in Virginia, and we continue our advocacy, I believe ultimately we will win. I'm the longest serving member of the House of Delegates, and people say, well, why do you stick around so long? It's because the job's not done. And it's because of you and people like you that I and others who advocate on your behalf continue to stick around. So thank you very much for all you do. Look forward to working with you again this year.